Hey y'all, GetMeowth here, and welcome to part 2 of my Ashes of Outland Wild card review. So basically what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be reviewing everything revealed between the 22nd and the final reveal stream on Wednesday. I'm going to attempt to go through them really quickly, just like last video. And so if you have ideas or opinions on cards that are different than mine or that I might have missed, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. Speaking of, just a short minute to sell out. Before I start, I want to make sure that you guys drop a sub here if you guys enjoy my kind of content. We've got tons of videos coming out over the next week, and plenty once the expansion actually drops. I'm also streaming 6 or 7 days a week live over on twitch.tv/GetMeowth. So if you're looking for some live wild gameplay, make sure you just head over there and drop a follow so you know when I go live. Alright, with that being said, let's go ahead and get right to it. Starting with Imprisoned Vile Fiend. This is a 3/5 rush on 4 that the opponent can play around because they know it's coming, so not good. Next up we've got Imprisoned Felma. This is probably the most playable Imprisoned minion we've seen, but probably still not good. Then we have Magtheridon. I do not know how to say that, so I apologize for all of you guys that know the lore and are going to hate me for the way I pronounced it. But this is the new darkness of the set. Except maybe sort of playable. Like, most of the decks I see in the current meta don't have a way to deal with the 1/3s on their own side, right? They're not running Plague of Murlocs or Evolve, and so I could totally see this coming down and then potentially followed by Hysteria or Defile for a full wipe, but then you're already clearing the board with Hysteria or Defile, so you kind of lose that effect on the card and you're just left with a 12/12. Not that a 12/12 is bad, but the whole second half of that card then gets kind of, becomes moot. But I have a feeling that it's still probably way too slow, way too, situational, and probably won't see play. Next up we have Septic Veil Weaver. This is basically a Lyra legendary effect on a 2-mana minion. It's a little bit different because, you have to target minions with it, but I think this slots in really nicely into a early game board-based buff-centric deck. And so the first deck that comes to mind is something like Inner Fire Priest. I'll be messing a little bit with Egg Priest, but 2-drops have always been the slot that's been notoriously difficult for Priestess to find good cards anyways, except for Radiant Elemental. So this is something that's, very easy to slot in, not a lot of competition for the card, and it might help you fill out the curve in that mid-game. So I really, really do like this card, and I expect a lot of people to start experimenting with it as well. Then we have Mok'Nathal Lion. So this is the card based upon our most recent world champion, the Caledon, and I really, really love this card. Especially in Hunter. So like running eggs or like a mech early game and then curving out with this to recover the tempo lost from playing an egg with 0 attack is kind of absolutely insane. And you have a ton of nice synergy built in the Hunter class with all the death rattle effects. Plus we just got the diving Griffin last set, the 4/1 with Rush that tutors this card as well. So have I mentioned that I really like this card? I think Death Rattle Hunter is getting a lot of really cool synergy this set, and a lot of cool fun stuff going for it, and I'm all about it. So I really do like this card. Okay, next up we've got Shadow Rumbler. It's a 5-mana 4/6, so it's pretty decent stats, and a 2 damage sweeper attached to it. Basically, if you're playing spells like a control deck would, and so a control deck might also want this kind of sweeper on a stick. I think we've established that AoE effects on a stick are really, really good. Cough, cough, Reno the Relicologist. Cough, cough, Lord Godfrey. This card has the potential to be really, really good, and is looking pretty decent in something like a Reno or a Shudderwalk deck, especially if you're running the quest and can double this battle cry, basically 5, I guess it would be a 7-mana flinch, right? Because you have to hear power. But I really do like this card, and I think it will see play. So next up we have a Yesiel Windsinger, and I think this deck is for meme combos only, with the real Aviana. But I don't think you play it on its own, just for its effect. There's no reason to play it for like a 1-mana UI when we already get our UIs for 0 mana anyways with Kael'thas. Right now, this card's bad. But in the future, when they print a spell that refreshes all your mana crystals, we'll revisit this card and how we all rated it so poorly. Next up we have Germination. So this is basically Molten Reflection with Taunt. So this is for big druid decks, but even a big druid deck, I don't really know if you want this card. Plus big druid is not even that good, and this isn't really helping it become good, so I wouldn't worry too much about this card. We have Hand of a Doll. So this is a 2-mana +2/+2 buff card like most classes have, but this has card draw, which makes it super, super nice. I think this will see play in probably just Quest Paladin, just because the other aggressive Paladin archetypes right now don't really need or want a +2/+2 buff. So I keep an eye out for this in Galvan Paladin, but maybe nowhere else. Next up, we have Door Attendant. So Paladin got this whole new sub-theme of cards called Librams, which are some pretty powerful, Paladin spells. And the nice thing about them is that they also have these minions that come along with this sub-theme that discount the cost of those spells for the rest of the game. And so that you're playing these pretty powerful spells for a lot cheaper than they're actually printed or intended to be played for. And so the first of these minions is Door Attendant. This is just a vanilla statted 2-mana 2/3, but the pretty big battle cry, reducing your Librams by 1. And so this isn't going to see play just because the 2-mana 2/3 is good. It's going to see play because the Librams look pretty strong, even for Wild, because anything that's not aggro Paladin right now needs help. And so if the Librams are seeing play, this card's seeing play. And then we have Aldor Truth Seeker. This is the more beefy Libram discounter. Much better stats oriented, I think, towards a control Paladin build. It's a pretty defensive looking 5-drop. And it also reduces the cost of your Librams by 2. So just imagine you're playing just a Bran, and then you play Bran and one of these guys, and all of a sudden your Librams are, half cost for the rest of the game. This card's pretty good. Then let's talk about the Librams themselves. First up, we have Broom of Justice. This is a 6-mana equality. That's probably going to be, more likely than not, less than the 4-mana normal equality. Plus, you get a Light's Justice to help start pinging off minions if you don't have anything on the board yourself. So honestly, this is probably the worst Libram, but then you pretty much are going to be running this over any sort of equality in any sort of control slow Paladin deck. And then we have Libram of Wisdom. This is basically Explorer's Hat. And so I'm looking at this card and I'm looking at Immortal Prelate shenanigans, or maybe some Yogg Paladin shenanigans, or some shenanigans with Lady Liadrin. Basically, Quest Paladin is getting a huge set of buffs this set. And last but not least, we have Libram of Hope. So this is like the control Paladin spell alongside Libram of Justice. This is a 9-mana Restore 8. Okay, so that's like half of Lay on Hands. And then instead of drawing 3 cards, you are summoning an 8/8 with Divine Shield and Taunt, which is pretty solid defensive minion. And so this coming down on something like turn 6 or turn 7, it is pretty solid for a slower control Paladin style build. So yeah, I think the Librams are, while they're not absolutely busted in Wild, I think they're strong, and I think that control Paladin needs all the help it can get in Wild. So if you are a fan, or you're reminiscing of those slow control Paladin days from Standard, I would definitely look towards these Librams and the accessory pieces towards beefing up that control Paladin deck. Then we have Nagrand Slam. So this is the 10-mana Hunter spell that was revealed by Kibler. This is a pretty good one-of in something like Spell Hunter or Spiteful Hunter, and it works really, really nicely with Zol Jin. You're pretty much never running 2 of these. That's way too clunky. And it's not going to see play in any other style of Hunter that's not Spell Hunter or Spiteful Hunter. But I think this card is sneaky good, because when it comes on an empty board, that's 12 damage to face, as well as getting the 3/5s on the board, which I think is pretty insane. We have Replicatotron. I don't understand the hype that I've been seeing behind this card. I don't think it's very good at all. Like, the one thing I can see is you buff this, and then you play like a recruit or a galvanizer beside it, and it becomes a copy of that. But that's way too slow and clunky. You don't want to be holding these cards in your hand. You want to be playing them. You want to be hitting face. I don't think this card's good. It shouldn't see play, but it doesn't mean it's not going to, because I know there's people out there that are going to be running it, but you shouldn't. Then we have Inner Demon. I think this card is only good off of random effects, i.e. Yogg and his puzzle box, but shouldn't see play otherwise. Then we have Sightless Watcher. I think this is decent in aggressive Demon Hunter builds, just so that your top deck is better than normal, right? Because you actually get to pick what your top deck's going to be. I don't think it's absolutely busted, but I think the Scry effect in Hearthstone is really, really cool. And I think this is a solid playable card. Then we have Altruist the Outcast. This is like what the balanced version of Archmage Flak Mage should look like. I'm not sure how consistent the outcast effects are going to be. If they are super consistent, this card's going to be pretty decent in a deck with the ability to cycle through and cycle through their top deck, similar to like what a Stargazer Luna in Quest Mage looks like. But until I see the outcast effects in action, I'm going to say it's a pretty meh legendary. And then we have Nathrajamus. This is like the top end for a token-style Demon Hunter deck, similar to like Dragon Queen or like Straza, where you pay 9 mana, you get an 8/8, and then you get 2 big beefy boys. That does mean, though, that you're getting to 9 mana with your token deck, which is not always a great thing in Wild, because as a token deck, you kind of want to be finishing the game a lot earlier than that. And I don't think the token deck and tools for Demon Hunter are good anyway, so I don't think this will see play. And then we have Priestess of Fury. This is 7 mana, which is pretty expensive, but if this is the top end of your odd Demon Hunter build, this can maybe be used to recover board and aggro mirrors or push face for 6 damage. I mean, this is an okay card. I like it. It's not great, though, but because of the limited Demon Hunter pool, and kind of just the lack of aggressive 7-drops in general in Hearthstone, I can totally see this seeing play. Then we have Ironbark, so this could be useful in that Miracle-style Druid deck. 0 mana is always good, and you've pretty much always got 7 mana when you're popping off with Kael'thas or Auctioneer. Then we have Caledon the Breakers, so this is basically a top deck Twisting Nether or a 6 mana Siphon Soul. I really do like this card in a control like Renalock deck, where it replaces Siphon Soul, but otherwise I don't really see it seeing play in most other Warlock decks because you want to be on board in those matchups anyways. Then we have Scrappier Colossus. This card won't see play in Wild Constructed. Supreme Abyssal. I initially want to say that this won't see play in Wild Constructed, but there's like the weird potential of this off of like Void Caller and Evenlock, and then you like can Sunfury it for a 12/12 taunt in Evenlock, or you have the ability to silence and push face for 12, and you also have the Faceless Summoner, the 4 mana taunt card. So my instinct is Wild unplayable, but maybe Mimi and bring in Void Color into Evenlock. Who knows? Coilfang Warlord. This card's not going to see play in Wild Constructed. Glowfly Swarm. I like this card in the token style Druid deck. It's like the Whispering Woods, but it's better because it's just like another layer that you can immediately hit with Soul of the Forest, not dependent completely on the number of cards. But in reality, it kind of is because Druid runs so few minions in general anyways. Then we have Imprisoned Sungill. This is basically a 3-mana 4/3 with Murlocs. I like this Imprisoned minion the best because Murlocs have the ability to immediately buff with something like a Cold Light Seer or a Rockpool Hunter. And you can immediately utilize those Murloc buffs because they're guaranteed to be around. I still don't think it's great. I don't think it's going to see play in Wild Murloc Paladin anyways. But this is probably one of the most playable Imprisoned minions that we've gotten so far. Then we have Murgurgle, and the associated Prime. The Prime is hilarious. It's an 8-mana finisher for Murloc Paladin. I think you definitely run it in Murloc Paladin because you kind of want the finisher. You don't have something like the Quest for Murloc Shaman. But you got to be careful because Blood Knight's going to be offered off of Zeph, so you have to. You're not guaranteed the Divine Shield value. But Murgurgle is probably my favorite named card and probably my favorite Paladin card revealed so far. Then we have Guardian Augmerchant. I don't think this card's great outside of Warrior with the Enrage mechanics because I don't really think it's that good in a Zooey deck when it comes to Wild, so it's probably not good enough to see play. Then we have Greyheart Sage. So this is Stealth Rogue synergy. I'm super excited for Stealth Rogue. Think about Shadow Sensei, a ton of stealth cards being revealed. So I think this is a really good card. And if the stealth support cards are good enough, I think they are, spoilers, this definitely sees play in those decks. And then last but not least, we have Crimson Sigil Runner, another just solid aggressive Demon Hunter card that probably will see play. And that's it. That's the second set of card reveals. Again, if you have any comments about the cards that you disagree with or a synergy that I might have completely looked over and missed, make sure to leave a comment down below the video. And just a reminder to drop sub here on YouTube if you guys enjoy the content. It's completely free and it supports me a lot, and you'll get notified about new content. I appreciate you all watching all the way to the end. I really do. Stay safe out there, and I hope you guys have a good one. Later.